All right, guys, we're starting in just a couple minutes here. Got an exciting one for you guys here today. Emma and Ryan will be joining us. See you in about 2 minutes. If you guys want to be asking questions, make sure you're doing it on the YouTube stream if you're having any difficulty elsewhere. All right, guys, welcome to the stream. Today, we are going to be talking about. Let me mute myself in the background here, otherwise I'm getting an echo to myself. Okay. And today we're going to be talking about how you can get yourself funded with various prop firms, including Maven, some of the rules and restrictions. I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown here on how I was actually getting some payouts from another firm. And, before we start, though, we can introduce. We got Emma with us here. If you have any questions, Emma is going to be reading all of the chat logs all across the board, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or whatever we're streaming to Twitter. And we're going to be compiling some of those questions together to be answered at the end. Anybody who gives us a good question that we really, really love, or they're going to actually win a $50,000, 50K account at the end of the stream. Okay, so that's going to be coming up in every single live stream now. Is we're going to be giving away one 50K account to a person who is community part of the community and giving us feedback, giving us proper questions and all that jazz. Okay, guys, Ryan here, he is our finance master, so you guys can introduce yourself really quick if you guys have not met them.
You want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, just say hi.
I'm Chris's cousin. Just kidding. Ryan, most of you guys know me, but for the sake of new callers being on, caller viewers being on, the CFO of Maven, been in the prop industry a couple years. That's pretty much it for me.
Right. Emma, do you have anything to say? We're going to get started here.
I don't think so. I think most people know me at this point.
Right
but yeah, I run our marketing side.
Easy. Okay, guys, let's get started before we did too long of an introduction there. We like to start off with the charts. There it is. Right. Perfect. So Bitcoin doing some massive moves here the last weeks. Guys, did we call this or what? Right, I'm pretty sure we did. Every single week on the live stream, guys, we've been calling the moves for you, and it's been absolutely wonderful for all the Mavens on board here following the streams. So make sure you're following every single week, and you're going to be looking at the weekly charts here. We did call for this crash. Now, when you're looking at the daily actually did gain these levels right here, right? And we're just coming back down to retest those. Now, the reason we're coming back down now and not earlier is because we were looking at that close, right? We wanted to close back above these levels here. And this is actually the level that we really wanted to get above, but it looks like we are super bullish, okay? We got above that level too. So super, super bullish. Let's actually just delete everything off there. It's a little bit of a mess. And all we're going to be doing is coming back, retesting these levels, right? If you go down to the daily, where does that line up? Boom, right there. So that's the zone that you want to be getting in on right here. If they do come back down, personally, I just bought. I don't care about this little bit. You know, what's that? 1% difference, right? Not a big deal. Might as well just jump in because we know we're doing well here. So the most important candle, obviously, is the monthly candle. Okay, so we have about 15 days left in the month, 16 days left in the month, something like that, right? And we need to make sure that we close in these highs, right? Because that's going to be crazy, crazy bullish. Once that happens, it's smooth sailing all the way to the new highs. 100K is going to be coming by the end of the year, pretty much for sure at that point. And that's my prediction. Okay, S&P, same thing, right? We were looking at the buy up of that level. Okay. Monthly candles tell you everything. Now, it looks like a mess when you're looking at the weekly. Oh, we don't know what's going to happen. Pretty dang easy when you're looking at the monthly, okay? Same sort of thing, daily coming back up, and it's very, very obvious on the monthly now. Guys, NASDAQ follows very much more of the crypto market, but this time it looks like we're actually showing we didn't actually quite gain that level there, which is a little bit of a sign of weakness on the NASDAQ. So I wouldn't be confident on the NASDAQ. I'm very, very confident on Bitcoin right now, though. Excuse you, Ryan.
Sorry.
Right, guys. Gold doing what gold does, and it's slowly going up. It's pretty confident with itself to just slowly climb the board. Okay, guys, let's move on. If you got any questions about Bitcoin, you can personally call my cell phone number at, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, guys, let's jump back. How do I switch this back here? Let's get rid of this guy here. Now, Emma and Ryan, I don't know if you have much experience with trading on prop firms, but I personally do. And I completely feel for you guys when, some of the rules might not be super, super clear, and you have to go back and read them multiple times, and you do end up ultimately failing. Now, ultimately, I had gone through this process, and I'll be blunt with who I was using there. I was using Matt L's futures firm, right? And the reason why I was doing futures firm is because I only trade the NASDAQ. Okay, I don't trade anything else, and I don't care for anything else, right? So we were trading on the futures firm, and the first time I bought, I started trading around a little bit, and then I didn't realize how, oh my gosh, the trailing drawdown rule worked, right? I knew it was a little bit different, and I completely forgot. And I even understand how the trailing drawdowns work. I know what trailing drawdowns are, obviously, right? So I completely understand where some people they get confused here. And guys, this is your first tip when you want to pass and get paid is, even if you already understand how the system works, right? Putting it into application is a different thing. And it's kind of an experience I had where I knew, okay, trailing drawdowns is very obvious how it works, right? But the actual application of trading on it live is a different thing than understanding it. So guys, what I suggest you want to do is start small, okay? Make sure that you can pass and get that account, because I'm glad when I started on the smallest account. I didn't start with that $150,000 account. It was the biggest one, right? I started on the smallest one, and I failed immediately pretty much on the very first week or something, right? Because I just didn't understand how to apply it into my trading. Okay. Then the second time around, we went through and we went very, very gradually, right? We traded the system, and eventually you will get paid out, assuming you do have a profitable system, right? So once again, I hit the pass, right? And then again, I got to a certain level, and some firms will require you to have a certain amount of capital before you can withdraw, and Matt L's is one of them. Maven's not so much. You can withdraw a minimum of $20 if you want to do that, but it wasn't something that I realized. So I kept trying to just push a little bit further, and I didn't realize. So it took me a very long time, and it was a little bit frustrating. So guys, this is the thing. Even if you understand the rules, even if you read all the rules, you're going to mess it up the first time. You're going to be a longer process than you expect, right? And you're going to have to probably try again. But the great thing about prop firms is it's still faster, right? If I wanted to withdraw, so I ended up ending the story here, recapping the results. I ended up having on the second account a 76% win rate with 1R ratio, and I was able to withdraw 3 times before I blew the account, right? So I turned the $300 investment into $3,000, okay? And that was really, really great. Okay. So the thing is, you're always going to eventually be able to do it, even if you do mess up, even if the process is longer than you expect. And that's what you need to go into this is expect it to take longer than you expect, right? Funny enough. Okay. So guys, that's my story about trading on another prop firm, right? And the moral of the story, right? Read the rules and then go into it as slow as possible. Okay, so I've got some questions for Ryan here. So when we're talking about common issues that people are running into. Now I just explained my common issue. Now, Ryan, what's some of the common things that you see people getting stuck on, and how what they should avoid when they're going for the payout? And I believe you're muted right now, so make sure to unmute your mic.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think you kind of mentioned it. The one of the most prevalent things that I see often is people just not understanding the rules and not being familiar. You know, if you're gonna buy an evaluation account at any prop firm, it's your responsibility as the trader or as a trader to make sure that you understand those rules. When you have a chance to, you know, at the type of money that this can generate for a small evaluation account fee, if it was me, I would want to make sure I understand every single, you know, aspect of every single rule. And I think that's super important. The most commonality or the common things that I see is definitely misinterpretations of drawdowns, not understanding things like what martingale is. Like, you know, we definitely clearly emphasize that martingale, you know, is prohibited, but people won't actually understand what martingale is. They'll actually say, "Well, I don't know what martingale is." Well, it's your responsibility to go look. I mean, you can Google that. So that's the kind of the most common thing I see. The other thing is just when people don't stick to their strategy. So in terms of like getting funded, once you get that funded account, it's a psychological twist, right, in your mind. All of a sudden, now you can envision how close this extra money or this potential windfall of money is to you, and people will start changing their strategies and what they do and how they got there. And I would always advise, again, especially like with Maven, we're looking for consistent and relaxed traders. We're not looking for gamblers or punters or people just, you know, doing crazy things. But a lot of people, when they get to that abundance status, they'll convert to that. And so, you know, that's kind of the, I guess, the main points of what I was seeing.
Right. So I hear a lot, you know, with the prop firm industry, you know, everyone's worried about the payout denials. Holy crap, the payout denials. And I've even seen the funniest thing is people say they start making rules around how to most likely get past these payout denials, right? One of the big ones is, you know, shoot for only 1 to 3% target maximum, right? So Ryan, is this good advice, right? In general, and let me just add a second point to that is why does that not matter with Maven? Why do we not need to make these silly rules for ourselves with when trading on Maven?
I mean, every prop firm has their own rules, right? And so you as a trader have to find the firm that has the best conditions and the best rule format for your strategy for what you're doing. Again, we're looking for consistent and relaxed traders. We're looking for a certain type of trader, and all of the things that we have in place, conditions, rules, they're all outlined well on the website. So you're not ever going to see or have to worry about, oh, we're going to deny you this because, you know, I don't know, you manipulated a demo environment. That's a very common thing that goes on right now in the industry, or, you know, come up with some, you know, crazy excuse or crazy reason why. as it relates to 1 to 3%, I mean, I don't know that I would put targets on it. I think that the biggest battle is
Ryan, you know what I'm asking though, right? Is people are trying to make sure they're avoiding getting hit with that denial. So they're only just trying to skirt under the radar so they don't get noticed. Right. You understand why people are making up those silly rules, right? They say, if you have $100,000 account, only shoot for like, $2,000, right? Because then you don't have this big chunk, right? And you're less likely, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you are definitely less like, if you're in that category where you're trying to get $25, $35, $50,000 payouts today, you are severely at risk. I don't care what prop firm you're at. And the way of the future is going to be the way that Maven does things and has created our structure. You are going to see, and mark my words, those type of payouts and those sized payouts go away. There are going to be industry-wide conditions and rules on things like that. And it doesn't mean that you still can't make a ton of money every month. It just means you're going to have to allocate your capital to a few prop firms. And that's good because you want prop firm, and I talk about this a lot, you want the prop firm that you're with to be healthy, right? And so it's going to come down to like 5 to 10 firms basically in this industry. And we're one in the top 5 right now of highly recognized firms. And I think in almost every category or every list, we're in the top 5 to 6. I mean, and we take that very serious, you guys, because, Maven's been around for 2 years. I mean, we're ranked up there next to places that have been around for a long time. Legacy prop firms, FTMO, the Fivers. I mean, we're ranked and we're sitting right next to them on lists. So again, feel very comfortable in that. But yeah, I think that people flying under the radar like that, you're just risking. It doesn't make sense to risk. And what I was gonna say to end that is like it becomes a battle versus yourself. It becomes a battle versus greed, right? So I always tell people when you get to your first payout, just once you're in profit, a couple $100, take it. It feels good. It will be good for your mindset. You don't need to. The worst thing you can do is say that $200, I want to turn it into 2,000, and then it's going to be I want 10,000, and then people are just going to keep going up. You got to clip your profits, and you have to take them. You do that with every other aspect in life or investing. You got to do it with prop firms too. It's just smart. The other way to do things, or the other way people do things, is just stupid, and it often results in failure. And people get frustrated, and then they don't succeed. It's not that hard in reality to succeed in this industry if you figure out the formula. The formula is being consistent and disciplined. That's the 2 formulas. Anyone can learn how to trade. You got to be able to fight your inner self, the way your mind works and things, against doing things that you shouldn't do to be successful. And I think a lot of people fail in this industry because they don't do that. The people who are successful master that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, guys, I'm seeing lots of lovely questions coming in here. They're popping up on the stream, even couple getting highlighted there that are nice. If you guys want to ask questions, the best place is the YouTube videos, and some of them will get highlighted on the stream. You might get your name plugged up on the stream there. And Emma's going to be reading along here. I'm actually pretty soon, so I'm actually seeing some pretty good ones here. Coming along the way, but so we'll get into those pretty soon. So here, Ryan, so in terms of payout denials from major firms, what are some common things you might hear when you're kind of put out a red flag that these firms might not be having their operations in check, that they're not going to be able to pay you out,
There's so many. I'm gonna give you a bunch of red flags. I am not specifically talking about any one firm.
Yeah.
But there will be obviously citing different rules. A very common one is firms citing that people are manipulating a demo environment. If you manipulate a demo environment, it's very clear. It's taking massive lot trades within a second or two. I mean, the live market, you have all kinds of slippage. You'd have orders that big that it would have to be pieced together. And in a demo environment, that doesn't always happen. So taking advantage of that. Oftentimes, though, that's just an excuse that a lot of props use. Let me think of some other ones. People will talk about, well, we're having whatever, we're switching financial institutions. I saw a lot of people and traders too blaming Rise for different things. I mean, there's a plethora of different excuses that go on out there. Here's the thing, though, with denials. Every firm has the right to deny a payout if you can prove that the reason you're denying it is justified. So, we always talk about, we're not denying payouts. We're not, there's no delays, that kind of thing. If for some reason at any legit firm, someone gets denied a payout, it would be clearly because you can cite an exact reason, an exact example of what they did wrong. And there's no arguing there, because that's why things are written in black and white. And that's why, again, I said at the beginning that traders need to understand the rules. Because if you understand the rules, like for instance at Maven, if you understand the rules, you read our fact sheets, you trade and you follow all those rules, you will never get denied a payout. And not only will you not get denied a payout, you will have that payout probably within a handful of hours of requesting it.
Right. So, good. Let's end it off with a last question for you, Ryan, and then we're going to go into the questions from the audience.
Okay.
Do you have just a blanket statement here, basically? Do you have any suggestions for traders to reach that payout, other than following the rules, right?
Yeah, following the rules is always a good one. I've talked about psychology, and we have a trading psychologist, but I would always recommend to follow. I think that's a big help in terms of getting there, because so much of trading is a psychological, like mental warfare, I call it. It's yourself versus yourself. The only person you're competing against at the beginning of the day, you're looking at in the mirror when you get up, right? So that's a big thing. The other thing is people do too many different things in terms of trading. You got to find your strategy. And the reason so many people fail is because it's not trading that's that hard of a thing. It's finding the right strategy that you know how to trade. Right. So like you, Hunter, you know,
just said trading's not that hard of a thing.
Well,
you're about to make a lot of people mad.
Anyone can master trading. It's about finding the right strategy to master. Once you find your strategy, everybody has a strategy that they can be successful at with anything they do. But the problem is most people never find it because they're too busy like going all over the place or whatever. I mean, look at you, how you read crypto charts. I mean, you're more accurate than analysts on Wall Street with Bitcoin. I mean, seriously. So, I mean, you have a gift of reading charts, especially with Bitcoin and things. So I would encourage people to.
The thing is, man, like just to butt in here, people make it more difficult than it should be, right? And that's the most difficult part.
Better way to put it.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. You want one thing you do. You only need one thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, I need all these lines." Yeah, just look at the candle closes, make one simple little thing, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean that's a better way to look at it. Trading is hard, but they make it more difficult. They make it harder. Traders make it harder, and I would leave it at that. I mean, I think that in terms of taking free competitions, smaller accounts to kind of assess and get your strategy down. That's the most important thing. And then once you get that strategy, do not deviate from it. Master it. Do it over and over again. Don't ever do anything else. Phase 1, phase 2 funded, never change. The people that are successful in getting consistent payouts, like we just posted someone that has, I think it was $23,000 in payouts for Maven. That's a consistent trader. That's been one of our most consistent traders, and that's good to see. But that person, if you looked at all their trades, they don't deviate from their strategy. They do it, and that doesn't mean you have to take a trade every day. They take the trade when they're comfortable taking the trade. They're not taking it when they have conviction when they take it. That they don't have kind of doubt. So I would say that. Okay,
guys. Here's the summary of what we've just learned today. 1, no matter how good of a trader you are, the second you join a prop firm, you're going to mess it up and it's going to take longer than you expect. Okay. The second one is read the dang rules, and then it won't take as long, but it'll still take as long, right? And then the final one, as Ryan was just summarizing, is that you need to make it simple, right? Do something, do it repetitively over and over and over again until you're the best in the world at it, right? Even if it's drawing trend lines, right? Guys, we're going to go into questions here. Hopefully Emma's got some chalked up for us that we can dive into. And this can be anything related to, if you want today, we can do anything. If you want to do trading related, I can answer some trading questions that might help you be a better trader. Maven related, anything you guys want. Emma, you're on mute.
I realized that as soon as I started to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to pop up the questions on stream. I am scrolling back and forth in the chat, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit. So just because we were talking about the fact that we just posted a trader that's been really, really consistent, someone just asked what the highest return someone's made on an account has been, or I guess the highest amount in this case, because I'm not sure of the return itself. You might know, though, Hunter.
Highest return one has made on account without it being considered gambling. So the question I'm going to answer is, what is the most amount of money somebody's pulled out of Maven? And that's currently, I believe, $46,000.
Yeah, it's either 46,000 or it's a little more. I did see a return the other week of about 27%, which was really good on a payout.
I'm accumulating all of the funds that they had on the on all withdrawals before they ultimately ended up leaving Maven. Nobody has gotten to the six-figure mark yet, and I'm still waiting for the day so that I can personally go fly there and handshake them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm flying there too, wherever it is. Well, if it's warm, if it's a warm place.
Yeah, you're gonna get swarmed by the Maven execs, all trying to get the first handshake.
I'll go to any place warm or Canada, one of those two.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of psychological questions as well around kind of the process. So someone was asking what the best thing to do is when you're on a losing streak.
Interesting. So this is what I would do if you're on a losing streak. Well, first of all, you need to first take note of what is the profitability of your strategy, right? What is your R, right? So if you have a really, really high R, so you're shooting for long distances per trade, your losing streaks are going to be much more common, right? So if you want to actually change something and lessen the losing streak duration, you can lower your target so that you get more consistent, right? And then your win rate's going to go up. So the higher your win rate, the less likely you're going to have prolonged losing streaks. Now, let's say you don't want to actually make any changes and you're happy going on 10, 20 losing streaks, which are 10, 20 losing streaks, very common if you have a less than 50% win rate, which is a lot of people do, right? And if you do happen to do that and you're on a losing streak, well, your morale is going to really get bumped down, right? So what you do, lower the amount that you're betting until you start to get that confidence back, right? And ultimately, you need to double check your strategy. Maybe you've altered, right? You started slipping, right? So there's three things that you can do there, right? You can make sure your strategy's still exactly what you're doing, right? You're not doing something different because I've done that, right? Two, you can lower the amount that you're betting until you're back on the winning streak. And three, you can actually lower your targets so that you can get that confidence back, or, change the strategy altogether so that you don't go on losing streaks at all. That's why I like the 1-to-1 R type strategies. I like to DCA one time, right? Because it really gives my psychology a huge boost when I have an 80% roughly win rate, right? And then I can stay consistent.
Yeah. And speaking of psychology, someone said, I think to be a successful trader, we want to work on our psychology. I feel like we can jump in here and plug our psychology. Of course.
Sorry, you kind of echoed there.
I noticed. So we do very much encourage traders to work on their psychology. So much so that we actually have a trading psychologist on board. And we encourage everyone to go and watch those videos. A lot of it is the basics of trading psychology. She's got a lot of great tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And I know that I post the links to that. Emma does on the Maven page as well. So our YouTube is full of a plethora of great videos by her, and it's some really interesting topics that will really resonate with everybody because it is all psychological, but geared at trading as it relates to trading. So it's very interesting topics that I think everybody on the call would like.
Yeah. We've kind of already covered this, but if there was one thing a trader needed to do to avoid being denied a payout, like what would be the key thing?
Yeah, Ryan, you can take it.
Yeah, and follow the rules. That's the number one thing. That the other thing would be, you know, to have a strategy. I mean, a strategy is not entering 50 lots of gold and, you know, okay, with the account's blown, and then you get another account and do the same thing. That's not a strategy. It's a 50-50 gamble, and it just doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, but I think the number one thing would be to understand, and it's not just Maven. Of course, we all want everybody at Maven, but if you're at another prop or you're with a couple prop firms, we all have different rules and conditions. And I think as time goes on, you're going to see that condense. You're going to see a lot of the top firms have very similar conditions and rules, but it's not that way right now. So make sure that you understand where you're at. That's my best advice for
variations in news rules, right? That's a big one, right? Some people have 2-minute windows, some people have 4-minute windows, you know, and they're all we have all basically the same rules across the board with the successful firms, but they're just slightly altered, right?
Yeah, and I really do think that as consolidation happens in industry, which we've seen this year, you know, firms going down or whatever, it's ultimately a good thing to weed out firms that are not as strong, because that's going to weed out the negativity, the payout denials, that kind of thing. And I think that everything's going to revert back to an initial mean, which means that, again, the top firms are going to have very similar conditions. It's going to come down to being able to feel comfortable at a handful of firms. It doesn't really matter which one. And you're going to ultimately make that decision based on probably the leadership, you know, how active the leadership is and so on, because the conditions are going to end up being very similar as time goes on.
Right, guys. So I see the question here, Emma. How much was my first payout and how does it feel? I'm going to answer this in a very, very boring way. It's the most boring thing you could ever say. It was $1,000. It feels like nothing, right? Because why? Because I wanted $1,000. It was the absolute minimum I could withdraw. And I did that every single time, right? All I wanted was $1,000 every other week, right? I didn't shoot for anything major. I shot for the minimum. I shot for ROI. $300 turned into $3,000. I was able to pull out 3 times, right? And it's boring, guys. Trading is a job, right? It's a high value. It's a high income skill set, right? We're not gambling, right? The people who are gambling are losing. Okay, you should not be excited. Like when you're getting a payout, it should, like, I was more happy that I was able to post on Twitter and say, hey, I'm a CEO. Well, I was the CEO of Maven and I've gotten a payout. That was the coolest part of it. It didn't, the money side is just to pay your bills, right? That's all it is. You're not trying to change your life with trading, right? That's all it is. Well, ultimately you change your life, you know, when you get very, very consistent long term, right? It's not, you're not winning the lottery, right? I don't want 10K. I don't want 20K, right?
You just did a really good point though, because it's an initial mindset, because there are tons of people who come into trading with, I'm going to change my life next month. You know, I'm going to buy my first house or my Lamborghini, whatever it is. Those mindsets are fucked. Sorry for the language, but I mean, it definitely is a mindset of failure. That is ultimate path right there. What Hunter just said is definitely the clear cut way to becoming successful. To come in with, again, starting small and scaling up in your mind even to being successful. And ultimately it can be a life changer, but it takes time. I mean, there's no one that's coming into this space and changing their life, you know, and their family's life and stuff in 30 days. This is not happening. You know, it's an acquired skill set, but it is a skill set that you can learn. That's the cool thing.
Yeah. If you want to change your life, this is what I suggest you do. Get a regular job, right? Work that to pay all your bills, and then start trading on a prop firm. And every time you get a withdrawal, put it into your personal account and then trade that alongside, and then just keep growing that personal account until now your withdrawals from your personal account start paying your bills, right? It's going to be like a 5-year process. But ultimately, eventually you're going to have $1 million in that account, and you're going to be making that 1%, right? And you're going to be making good money eventually in 5 years, right? But you scale it. That's all you do. Minimum. That's the goal, right?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I think this one's for you, Ryan, just because you've talked about it very passionately. So, do you think the consistency rule will be the new standard?
Yeah, I think that the consistency rule and other rules will be the new standard. And I firmly believe that it's not a bad thing. When you have a Wild West industry and there's all kinds of, firms doing all kinds of different things, and some are good and some are bad and some are, gray. It's not ultimately a feeling of confidence. And so I've talked about this a lot. The way the industry sits right now with so many different things, it's not the way of the future. And I do think rules like the consistency rule will be definitely implemented across the board as time goes on, as well as many other things. And again, I want to stress and emphasize, because, people don't like change, right? I want to emphasize that this change is good. This change means that ultimately no one's getting denied a payout. Nobody's getting denied funded accounts. Mm-hmm. That's where the industry is going. But there is still some work to be done. And that's why, we're one of the firms, and our leadership team is definitely one of the leadership teams that's kind of paving the way. We're building the path and helping build the path to the future of, being a sustainable industry. And companies like us will thrive in it. And you as traders will also thrive, because again, that psychological aspect that is in the back of people's mind now, hey, I'm spending money, hey, I'm getting funded, well, but am I going to get paid out? That's not a good mindset. That doesn't make anyone feel good. And so you need to have confidence that when you're with a firm, that none of those things are going to happen. And too many sketchy things have happened in the past. And it's definitely in the process of all being weeded out, which is ultimately good for everyone. So yeah, I think rules like this will be the standard.
All right. Do you want any more questions, or do you want to wrap it?
Let's wrap it up. We're at 40 minutes now. So these streams might get longer and longer as time goes on, with more and more questions. Those are really good questions today, guys. We do this every single Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. PST. That's 12:30 in the noon time for the Eastern time zone. If you live somewhere else in the world, you're going to have to calculate what that time zone is for you. And next week, we're going to help you pass even more challenges with some more talk with the team here, guys. So one person there, Emma, you can reach out to them however you want, has just won a 50K account. Do you want to do it on stream, or do you want to contact them?
I might need to contact them on the side, just because we've got most people on YouTube now.
Yeah.
I don't know the best way to actually do this on YouTube. So
yeah. Now, guys, I am looking at upgrading the stream a little bit so that we can have everyone chatting everywhere. And right now, we've only got comments going for YouTube. So eventually, we'll figure things out. But just pick somebody from YouTube, contact them directly, and or Twitter, and then somebody just won a $50,000 account there. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week, 9:30 a.m. PST, Tuesdays.